Hello, sweet listeners, and welcome back on this journey of infinite intrigue that we call the Witching Hour Frequency. Today's broadcast comes to you live from the crevice between your couch cushions, the one of infinite, unfathomable depth, where coins go to meet the eternal abyss and mementos of the past are found, ever lingering, ever present, yet ever faded from your mind. Take great care in making sure you never stare too deeply into that boundless void. You may become one of the collected memories.
On the topic of furniture, can I get a new desk? The current one is a little, dilapidated after our recent series of unfortunate encounters, mainly with the office pet.
Hey, Mr. Stretchy Pants just appreciates fine wood, and also tends to gnaw on it to dislodge the goat bits from lunch. That being said, I noticed you have what appears to be an extraordinary number of fried chicken buckets acting as one of the legs to your chair.
It's quick and doesn't dip too much into our budget. On that note, what is our budget?
The current budget is $10,000 per month with an additional $200 food stipend.
Oh, we're basically poor.
After our recent need for repairs due to close encounters with supernatural creatures, including the mass devastation caused by Redacted and Mr. Stretchy Pants, our current balance is 2.
To what?
2.
Well, not to worry, I have another idea. Oh, Dave! I'd like your help with something over here by the tool closet.
Huh?
Thoughts?
I like the desk legs, made from the leg bones of my enemies. Really knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone on that one. I'm genuinely impressed by your craftsmanship. Haven't seen anything quite like it since the Dark Ages.
Yes, those were the good times. Unfortunately, however, Dave will regenerate and continue to provide his so-called meteorological predictions. I've tried this before. Where do you think the ivory coffee table in the break room came from? Anyways, today's report also deals with furniture, or rather, the small gaps and cracks between them. The being that's been sighted en masse strikes a little bit closer to home than many of our other supernatural residents in town. Over to King for a full report on the eerie being.
Locals have reported seeing a girl hiding within the gaps of their house. Her appearance is much like that of a corpse with a cold and pale complexion. She is primarily spotted under couches or inside of the crevice between a piece of furniture and the wall. That being said, it has been widely speculated that any gap has just as much chance for her appearance. Perhaps she could even appear in storm drains, cracks in the wall, or even in the small stretch between a door and the floor. Fortunately, the United States offered a solution for this in their bathrooms by simply not having the stall door even approach the floor, creating far too big a gap for her to ever appear in. Now, you may find yourself wondering, what might this creepy young lady be doing once you spot her? The answer is nothing. At least not the first time you spot her. You may get a small fright, but she will disappear quickly, not enjoying being seen. The worst situation during this first meeting is that she will ask you if you wish to play a game of hide and seek with her. As with many urban legends, you don't have much of a choice. Not much will happen regardless of your answer. She will, again, simply disappear. This is your one free pass to see her, and though you may see her again, it will be far more unpleasant. Regardless of if she says anything the first time, or your response if she spoke to you, you must never lock eyes with her again. After your first meeting, you will begin a game with her. One that if she wins, will effectively forfeit your life over to her. There is no way to win this game. Just survive it. We have no reports on exactly where you go. Oftentimes, the scene of the incident is littered with thrown objects and scratches on the floor. DNA shows that it came from the victim. This indicates that perhaps you don't just simply disappear, but there is a struggle before you disappear. On the other hand, however, nobody has ever been found, and following the path of carnage resulting from the struggle leads to nothing. It just stops at a certain point. Those who have survived report an intense anxiety that invades almost all parts of their lives. Any accidental glimpse into even the most benign of spaces often elicits an intense fear in those that have met her. After a month, nobody has ever been known to see her again, leading many to believe that the game has ended, though I wouldn't exactly refer to this as a victory. Perhaps the game never actually ends. Perhaps she is just waiting for you to have forgotten about her and about the game. Perhaps you will one day be living your normal life, and wake up in the middle of the night only to see a pair of eyes staring at you from right behind your dresser? Perhaps it is now time for a word from our sponsor.
This report is brought to you by the Starbucks adjacent to the studio. Ever need that kick in the morning? A little refresher after a long day at work? Or maybe a reason to find validation on social media? The Starbucks adjacent to the studio has just the solutions for you. Whether it be a pumpkin spice latte, a simple frappuccino, or a text from your best friend saying they love you and you look amazing, there is something anyone can find at Starbucks. They do caution. The 3 women who sit by the window left to the counter may follow you home and steal your cat. So please, do not own a cat if you have a craving for one of their delicious drinks. Thank you to the Starbucks adjacent to the studio for sponsoring us this week.
Well, strange beings that live in the smallest of spaces in your house are certainly comforting. Here you thought there were places that surely no monster could be in.
This is why I decided to just not have furniture. No monsters can hide in your house if there's nothing to hide behind. You could also not have a house. All you really need is a nice cave and a nest of sticks and bones and shiny things you pick up from off the street and from your coworkers' pockets.
So that's where my spare change has been going. I use that for the vending machine.
That also explains the missing tinfoil from the break room.
I like the soft crunch at night, and it's very effective at keeping me dry while I sleep. Plus, I can use it to scare off the werebears that try to evict me from my home. I have a 2-year lease that I drew up on the cave wall for everyone to see. Until then, it is my cave.
Speaking of unwanted guests, if I'm going to have a girl living in the nooks of my illustrious home, then I expect that she will start pulling her weight and pay rent. I am a noble, not the caretaker of some ruffian bed and breakfast or whatever it is the commoners do.
I can go looking for her. I went a long time never being spotted by the press and cryptozoologists. I could easily best her at her little game.
While they go off to do that, I believe it may also be time for us to bid you a good night, dearest listeners. Lock your doors, close all the curtains, dim the lights, and ignore the howls and cries for help that will seem to emanate from just beyond the window. If you don't, you may just find yourself joining in their ghastly screams. In spite of this, sleep well, our sweet listeners, and good night.